Fear is one of the most fundamental human emotions. It has been with us since our earliest ancestors, acting as a powerful force to keep us safe from danger. Fear tells us when to run, when to hide, and when to fight. But in the modern world, the threats we face are often not as clear-cut as a predator in the bushes. Instead, fear can arise from uncertainty, from the unknown, or from challenges that require us to step outside our comfort zones. Facing fear rationally means understanding it, breaking it down, and learning how to respond in ways that serve us rather than hold us back. The first step in facing fear rationally is to recognize the emotion as it arises. Fear is not always a roaring wave. Sometimes it's a whisper in the back of the mind, a hesitation before taking action. Pay attention to the physical sensations. Your heart might race, your palms may sweat, your breath could quicken. These are signs that your body is preparing for action, a legacy of the fight or flight response. But not every situation that provokes these feelings is genuinely dangerous. By noticing fear as it appears, you give yourself the power to pause and reflect instead of reacting automatically. Once you recognize fear, the next step is to identify its source. Ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of? Sometimes writing it down can help clarify vague anxieties. Are you afraid of failing at a new project, of speaking in front of a group, of having a difficult conversation with someone you care about? By naming your fear, you bring it out into the light, where it's often much less intimidating than it seemed in the shadows of your mind. Now, examine your fear with curiosity, not judgment. Try to separate the facts from the feelings. What is the worst that could realistically happen if you face this fear? Often, our minds jump to catastrophic scenarios that are unlikely to occur. Challenge these thoughts by asking yourself, is this fear based on reality, or is my imagination running wild? For example, if you're afraid of public speaking, consider the likelihood that you'll make a mistake so severe that you'll be ridiculed or rejected. In most cases, the consequences are far less severe than our minds suggest. Another powerful tool for facing fear rationally is to assess the evidence. Review your past experiences and the experiences of others. Have you faced similar fears before? What happened? Often we discover that we've handled difficult situations in the past with more resilience than we give ourselves credit for. Learning from these experiences can help build confidence and reduce the power fear holds over us. It's also important to distinguish between useful and unhelpful fear. Some fears are rational and serve a protective purpose. For instance, fear of driving recklessly keeps us safe on the road. But other fears, like the fear of embarrassment, may prevent us from pursuing opportunities that would help us grow. Ask yourself, is this fear helping me, or is it holding me back? If it's the latter, consider whether facing the fear could lead to personal growth, learning, or new possibilities. Preparing for what you fear can further reduce its power. If you're afraid of a particular situation, take practical steps to prepare. If it's an important presentation, practice until you feel more confident. If it's a difficult conversation, plan what you want to say and anticipate possible responses. Preparation transforms the unknown into something more manageable and gives you a sense of control. Another rational approach is to break down big fears into smaller, more manageable steps. If your fear feels overwhelming, ask yourself, what is one small action I can take toward facing this fear? Taking incremental steps not only builds confidence, but also provides evidence that you can handle the challenge. Each small success chips away at the power of fear, making the next step a little easier. Support from others can also make a significant difference. Talk to someone you trust about your fears. Sometimes, simply voicing your concerns can lessen their intensity. Others may offer perspective, advice, or encouragement that helps you see the situation more clearly. Remember, you're not alone. Everyone experiences fear. Sharing your worries can remind you that fear is a universal part of being human. Mindfulness and relaxation techniques offer additional tools for facing fear rationally. Practices like deep breathing, meditation, or grounding exercises can help calm your body's stress response. When your body is calm, your mind is better able to think clearly and assess the situation rationally. Over time, these practices can help you develop a greater sense of control over your reactions to fear. It's also helpful to reframe fear as an opportunity rather than a threat. Fear often arises when we're on the brink of growth or change. Instead of seeing fear as something to avoid, try viewing it as a signal that you're stretching your boundaries and moving towards something meaningful. Ask yourself, what might I gain if I face this fear? What opportunities could open up? This shift in perspective can transform fear from an obstacle into a motivator. Of course, facing fear rationally doesn't mean eliminating it altogether. Some level of fear will always be with us, and that's okay. The goal is not to become fearless, but to learn how to manage fear so it doesn't control our decisions or limit our lives. By approaching fear with curiosity, preparation, and self-compassion, we can move forward even when we're afraid. Finally, celebrate your courage. Every time you face a fear, no matter how small, acknowledge your effort. Progress may be gradual, but each step forward is a victory. Over time, you'll find that what once seemed impossible becomes routine. The more you practice facing fear rationally, the more resilient and confident you'll become. Remember, fear is a natural part of life, but it doesn't have to dictate your choices. By recognizing fear, understanding its roots, and responding thoughtfully, you empower yourself to live fully and pursue your goals, even when you're afraid. In the end, it's not the absence of fear that defines courage, but the willingness to act in spite of it.